Good evening, Somers. This is Supervisor Rick Morrissey, and welcome to the Somers Town Board regular meeting of Thursday, April 16th, 2020. So if you would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of
America,
and to the republic for which it
stands
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty,
liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you, and be seated. Patty, roll call.
Councilman William G.
Here, if you can hear me.
Councilman Richard G. Clinchie.
here,
Councilman Anthony J. Sirico.
Here.
Councilman Thomas A. Garrity Jr.
Here.
Supervisor Rick Morrissey.
Present. Thank you, Patty. All right, our first order of business this evening will be to open public comment. I'll make a motion to open public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Aye.
And just for the viewing public, if you click on chat, you can give us your public comment and we can reference it and repeat your question or your comment. And we could do it in that fashion. Or Paul, can the public participate on Zoom or through YouTube?
Yes, there's nobody trying to get in on the Zoom program right now, so they're not trying to phone in or anything, but I'll look for some comments on YouTube here.
I did get a text message just now.
Okay.
So it's from a Shadow Rock resident who has had their tires slashed Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. on Carpenter and Tye.
Somebody mute their,
Everybody mute.
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
not speaking, mute.
Okay, do you want me to continue?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so Shadow Rock resident had car tires slashed Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. on Carpenter and Tye Road. We have not seen police patrolling at night. What is being done?
Okay. The chief of police has put out there on numerous occasions the fact that with the stress that everybody's under and kids are home from school, that he is encouraging everyone to be mindful of vandalism, to lock your cars. And another good deterrent, he was saying, was to keep your lights on outside your house overnight. Most of us turn them off when you go to sleep. What he's recommending is you keep those lights on for any kind of deterrent. Yeah, this type of behavior is abhorrent at any time, but even more so during this virus outbreak. So the police are well aware and have increased patrols and are continuing to be vigilant. So any other public comment we see coming in?
No, I don't have anything on this end. If somebody has a TV on or something in the background, can you please mute that? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's what
You
we're.
know what I think it is I think sometimes when somebody talks, we're hearing the speaking from it, so you could just hear me coming from somebody else's computer. That's why we should all be muted unless one of us is speaking.
Okay, let's
That's correct.
try that.
That means board members too, guys.
Okay, so I don't hear anything now.
That was because nobody was talking.
Okay, so we'll give a moment or two, since we're in the new world of Zooming and YouTubing and texting in comments. Paul, anything else on your end?
No, there's nothing coming in at all. Nope.
And for the record, we put it on social media, we put it on Somers Parents, we put it on the town website. So, and I mean, this is like 2 or 3 days ago. And I think they had comments last night at the planning board meeting, so I'm sort of surprised we don't have any, but I mean, we have to, we can come back to it again, like last.
Sure. Okay, and Patty, just checking back with you, any more texts? Or phone calls?
No, that's all I've received to this point.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I'm going to make a motion to close public comment.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, the next item on our agenda are department reports. Patty?
Hands down. I'm on mute.
I have reports from the town clerk, building
Yes.
inspector, zoning,
Why?
Bill, now
Bill,
you're on mute.
plumbing, bureau, fire prevention, parks and recreation, planning and engineering, tax receiver, and director of finance.
Thank you. All right, under town board now, Town of Somers COVID-19 update. So bear with me while I try to bring the town and the board up on where we are in this COVID outbreak. The Town of Somers will be extending our state of an emergency another 30 days or until further notice. We do this for a number of reasons, just to reiterate the seriousness of this outbreak and the fact that you should be staying home at all costs. As of tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, per Governor Cuomo's orders, anyone out in public and interacting with anyone around between keeping a 6-foot distance should still be wearing a mask. So when you're out there, if you don't see someone with a mask on, they are in violation of a governor's order. And I'm sure the police will be pointing that out for individuals who are not following that guideline. Also that the governor has extended New York pause till May 15th. So we're gonna be 15 days past that. But I think it's an action that I would like to take and will be taking tonight. The declaration of emergency will be on our website. Okay, Somers. We presently have 97 positive COVID cases in the town of Somers. This number, I believe, and our emergency service personnel and fire department will back me up, is way underreported. There's quite a delay. These are state numbers. There's quite a delay in them reporting on a shared file that they share with this municipality of positive cases. So that was as of 2, 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Just a picture countywide. Westchester County has currently 20,947 positive COVID cases. So we've tested over 62,626 cases, people for the virus. So we have tested more people within the last 3 weeks than anywhere else, probably in the United States. So you test more, you're going to find more. And this is really the case. So 1 week ago, there were 10,264 active cases. So that means that, 10,000 came off. They got better, they left the hospital. 1 week ago, there were 1,168 people in hospital beds in Westchester County. As of yesterday, there were 1,107, which is not a huge drop, but it is a reduction. Countywide, there were 3,500 hospital beds available. So with those numbers I just mentioned to you, we're well within under the beds that are required. So even if numbers doubled, there would still be a number of the hospital beds people could be cared for. The county center has been retrofitted to hold 110 hospital rooms. These are hospital rooms as you would see in a hospital. Sheetrock walls, plumbing, negative air. It's tremendous what has happened over the last number of weeks. So that is what's happened at the county center. We had a call with the Northern Westchester Hospital the other day, and they are reporting that their numbers at that local hospital have gone from 70 to 75 hospital admissions 2 weeks ago. Last week it was 90 to 95 admissions. And as of yesterday, they were down to 75 hospital admissions. So what's that showing? It's showing that the numbers are coming down. You couple that with the number of tests and active cases for the county. So you see that it appears, and you can look at some state numbers too, that we haven't bent the curve. We are in the process of flattening the curve. So we're in what's called the apex period, where we think we've reached the height, and now we are flattening out, and hopefully these numbers next week will continue to decline. One good note that the Northern Westchester Hospital ended with, Dr. Dwyer, it was the head of emergency services down there. More people are leaving the hospital than are being admitted. And that's very good news for us in general. So that's basically it. I have to commend the town board and those in the community that have stepped up and volunteered and helped out with different tasks on hand. I do want to just read an email that I did get, which kind of sums up, I think, my feeling and the town board's feeling on what's really occurring in our town. These numbers that I just told you about, they're flattening out because the town board, members in our community are staying at home, and they're following the guidelines that they're being told about. So this is an email I received today from Kathy Casella, and she is the director of the St. Luke's Food Pantry. Excuse me, it's called Somers Food Pantry. So she begins, as I mentioned to you, as a longtime resident of Somers, I am truly gratified the outpouring of support to the Somers Food Pantry at St. Luke's Church. We have been the recipients of largesse of a wonderful town populated by an amazing group of individuals. Among those who have recently supported us are the Somers Volunteer Firemen, who have held monthly food drives for the past 2 years at the Somers Firehouse on Route 202 in Somers. To increase accessibility, there are 2 collections every Monday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and the first Wednesday of the month between the hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. DeChico's and Sons in Somers, which has graciously permitted the pantry to keep a food donation box inside their store. Resident Nicole Galate manufactured fabric masks for sale and is donating the profits from her venture to the Somers Food Pantry. The Somers PTA Council is donating $7,200 in support of those in need. The Somers High School Student Council will be sending in a $1,500 donation to the food pantry. The Shalom Club of Heritage Hills has made a monetary donation along with the most wonderful and kindness of wishes for the pantry's success in helping others. Longtime Somers residents Barbara and John Cohen have sent generous donations to ensure others are cared for during this crisis. Retired Somers teacher Kate Staplin acts as a representative for the Mount Kisco Diner in bringing food distribution weekly. Il Forno Restaurant provides warm meals and salads each week to our drive-through pantry. The food is delivered and set up for pantry volunteers to distribute. It's especially enjoyed by those who participate in need. The North Salem Ambulance Corps has donated food from their food distribution program to ensure no one in the area goes hungry. Finally, for now, thank you to this most dedicated group of volunteers who work to ensure the pantry not only provide food, but does so while adhering to all the guidelines for space distancing and safety. Many hours have been dedicated by this extraordinary group of people who do it all with smiles for everyone. The Somers Food Pantry is located at St. Luke's Episcopal Church, 331 Route 202, Somers, New York, adjacent to the Elephant Hotel. And for further information, you can call 914-277-3122 or email admin@slcsomers.org. And she goes on to thank you for our continuous support of the food pantry. Without all of our work, it would not be possible. Sincerely, Kathy Casella. So I thought it was worthwhile reading that because that really sums up what we feel about all the volunteers. I personally have been involved with putting together the Somers Lions Club with some seniors up in Heritage that call into our office that say, you know, we can't get out to get our groceries. And the Lions Club would follow up, call them, get their grocery list, go purchase the items, and then deliver them. And once again, following these safety protocols at all times. So once again, this is just a clear example of what a wonderful town we are living in at present. So I will stop with the congratulations at this point, but truly and truly, we are thankful for those volunteers.
And it does point out there's a need. You know, ordinarily, there's families anywhere between 50 and 100 who might get food there each week. And now that need, of course, is much greater. We all probably know somebody who's been furloughed or laid off from their job. And at the high school last week, there was a giveaway of food. You come up, say how many people you have, they make a bag up and they put in your car. It wasn't the food pantry. I got an email from someone saying, is this true? I couldn't go out because I was still under Coronaville quarantine, but I set my wife up, and Teresa Rita, who is the school social worker, was there helping. And indeed, this fellow who owns a market does this in, I don't even know his name, but he does them in different localities. But the point is, it was 4:30 to 6:30, and at 5, they'd given away almost all the food, but they guaranteed anyone who came before 6:30, they would go get more food for them. So obviously there's a need, and it just reminds me that I should do more.
I think, is that because I'm looking at it now, is that the Galata House that did it
Got
last?
me.
Because they're doing it again. I think they did it again tonight
Oh,
at the Somers High School and the grill. So I know they're doing it. It's called the Galata House, Gullota.
well, then it probably is. You're right.
Right, so you could probably go into the Somers High School website. I was on a community meeting, Somers Community Council meeting this morning, where Ray was discussing the fact that, yes, they are preparing meals. Also at SIS,
Yeah, that's the one each day, SIS, yeah.
And
And,
those are for the kids.
and Barbara Tabor, our senior nutrition program director, who she and her staff have been doing an extraordinary job preparing and delivering over 900 meals a week, asked the school superintendent that if something were to happen where they got overwhelmed with food preparation, could they use the school cafeterias? And the answer to that was he'd be more than happy to work something out with senior nutrition. So
That's
what you see is not only volunteer groups working together, but institutions, which is the right thing to do.
Rick,
Absolutely.
just so we don't confuse some people, the schools right now are doing it for the students who were normally on the free lunch plan. And they're
Right.
also hosting, I mean, I guess they're also offering daycare for
First responders.
first responders children. So they're making lunches for them, sandwiches and things like that. So
Right.
we have to make sure that people don't go there looking for
Right.
food. You know, the other
Right.
stuff was over at the high school and it was a separate private organization.
Okay. All right. Just moving along then, our next agenda item is the new private school. And I just thought, people are asking, hey, what's going on with the school? We haven't seen it on the agenda. We had it on the agenda. We dropped it off as a town board. But I just wanted the public to know that, in fact, the school is alive and well. They're going through the secret process. Matter of fact, they met and had a public hearing with our planning board last night. So we, as a town board, are just waiting for them to recontact us to present I think where we left off was we were going to get a presentation on their curriculum from Tim DeCipio.
Right.
So we're really looking forward to that. And I would foresee that we would be setting a public hearing in the near future, early or late May, for that. But I did want the public to know, yes, in fact, the new school is still alive and well, and they're working towards completion. The next item up for discussion is the Euro Video Production contract. So, basically we asked Euro Video Productions to give us a bulk pricing, meaning basically that would guarantee a set amount on an annual basis rather than on a piecemeal meeting by meeting basis. Like most small businesses out there, we're trying to stay afloat.
I'm sorry, Rick. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Had a technological issue. Does the start date of the new school get deferred or delayed based on all of what's going on, or are we still on track that they're going to open up in 2021?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't have a concrete answer, but I do think that what has been discussed, if you delay it a month, you delay it a year. So we've delayed it a month. It looks like a 2022 opening rather than a 2021. But once again, we'll wait to hear from the school about that.
Yeah, that's an impossible question to answer right now, just because we don't know when colleges are going to start. We don't know when high school, certain colleges are saying they're putting off their fall semester until January. So I think what we have to do is just continue to go through the process, and then they're going to just have to go by the same laws and rules that the high schools and other schools are going by in the community. But at least they'll be ready to start as soon as things lift up.
Yeah, certainly. But I guess my question should be more refined and say, has the school indicated that they want to do anything that's going to defer their original timetables?
Yeah, the answer to that is no. They're still hard at work. Okay, so back to our video contract. And, we would be going from, currently our contract with Euro Video Productions is, let's see, I'll tell you what it is. $21,316 a year. And the proposed bulk pricing contract would be $27,300. So I think up for discussion would be, refining the contract with a more, a little more detail in it. And I think, we've been at that amount of money with Euro Productions for quite some time, and I do believe an increase is appropriate. I think that we need to do a little more work on the contract. So I'll open that up for, discussion.
I would agree with you. The one thing I would say is that, I've worked with Euro Video with Paul and before him, his father, for now over 20 years, because I think that's how they've had the contract since before I even was on any of the local boards. He always does a great job. He's always accessible. He's helped us immensely over the last month. So I would be supportive of it, but again, as you indicated and Mr. Clinch indicated earlier, that we just want to make sure that the contract reads correctly for both sides.
I would
I
say
think-
that, he's moved from, a company that's just filming us to a point where now he's actually producing, what's going on here. So he's, as Tom had said, that, he's been very helpful in making this transition. And he's hosting these meetings and he's managing through this, handling all the calls that are coming in as well. So I think, he's well worth the value.
I think on the contract, there's things that we can clarify that I think would help Euro Video. And I think that everybody is right. Paul, who runs Euro Video, he inherited from his dad, who recorded meetings for the town, the school board, going all the way back to the 90s, and started the business to a certain extent, thinking ahead for Paul to take it over. And I think you're all right. He's not just work for the town, he's part of the town. And not that we're rewarding people because they're nice people, but his service has been so reliable that if we can make a contract that basically is the same as we have now with some modifications and less ambiguity, I think that would be good for the town in terms of budgeting, because budgets will be tougher going forward, of course, and it would be good for his business so there's a continuity. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So, with that, I don't see any, let's ask Paul to, maybe we can work with him on customizing the contract a little better, so we both understand what the limitations of the contract are. And, we could put it on for next, if we get a contract that we've had a chance to review as a board, and we can put it on for approval even at our next work session. So, but I think what I hear here is there's a consensus that, in fact, for the $27,300 for an annual bulk pricing contract, we're basically in favor of that. So we'll move forward on work with
And
Paul.
with the new technology, I think everyone will see that, we're going to move into the 21st century a little bit. All of the presentations in front of the town board, the planning board, the zoning board, all of the pictures that come through on TV, the microphones that will be embedded into the meeting room so everybody can be heard as opposed to now, all that's going to be a great improvement in the future.
And when you guys get back to the townhouse, the meeting room is going to look a lot different. I've been there, I go there every other day, and they've already started putting some of the stuff up.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it's going to be impressive.
Good.
Yeah, well, the meeting room has been repurposed into a a small cottage industry of taking hand sanitizer in gallon jugs and reducing them to 8 and 6 ounce containers. So many of the town employees and family members of town employees have worked at that cottage industry, cranking out these hand sanitizers for, once again, first responders, healthcare workers, and essential workers in town.
Takes a while to get the smell out of your hands after you do about 1,000 bottles.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, you're protected from COVID-19 on your hands then, big time.
What's left of your skin.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the police department phone system. So the chief has requested an upgrade to his phone. You know, they still have that hand crank and hand thing that.
So we
So
offered him the dial phones, but he didn't want them.
yeah, no, and then there was the push button ones that came. But so yeah, this is way overdue, and we do have 2 bids. One from Verizon in the amount of $5,754.27.
Proposals,
Excuse me? Oh, what did I say? I
bids.
said bids.
Yeah, it's
Thank
proposed.
you. Madam Clerk, thank you for that. These are proposals. That one was from Verizon, and the next proposal was from Ray Maggi for $5,160. So everyone knows who Verizon is. Ray Maggi is our IT person who takes care of our servers and is in the townhouse on Tuesdays once a week. So I would recommend we adopt that proposal from Ray Maggi.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
We have a proposal for a new phone system into the building department. Am I right?
Yeah, that was a separate issue, right?
Right. Can these be combined in some way that would benefit us by putting 2 proposals together and getting a little bit of a break? We give you a bigger thing. Is there anything there that we could do to leverage that?
Well, you know what, Richard? Great minds think alike. That's exactly what I said. But it's my understanding these are 2 separate contracts, 2 separate job orders. And, you know, I don't know that Ray gave us a proposal for that. I think what had to happen at the annex where the building department is, that they had antiquated wiring.
Right.
And, you know, Ray doesn't do that. I'm not sure that, you know, I don't know who we're getting a proposal to do that from. But yeah, that was kind of an apple. And what we're talking about here with the police department is an orange.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the police department is almost just, you know, replacing everything. Whereas, if I'm not mistaken, town clerk, help me with this. I think the building department is looking for more of an upgrade of the current system. Not, I mean, I think to me the police is just a totally
Yeah.
kicking everything out and bringing all new stuff in.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Okay, so Patty, do we need to make a motion on that? I see you're trying to speak.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from Ray Maggi in the amount of $5,160.
Second.
Second?
Tom had the second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, which brings us to item number 5. And this is authorize the license application for a collection of refuse within the town of Somers for City Carting and Oak Ridge Hauling LLC per memo from Patricia Calva, Town Clerk. dated April 9th, 2020. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the city carding right now. So I would vote on them separately. I want to look more into the Oak Ridge hauling prior to do anything. You know, we've had some issues and I want to speak to the owners prior to approving any sort of a continued permit.
I think that's
Yeah, I
a fair
support that.
request. That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So-
also curious about how the, you know, how, what are they doing and what are they not doing within and without of the town code? I could give you examples of specific examples of some of these carding companies that are not operating prior to 6 a.m. So I guess the first question though is, what are the hours of operation? Can they operate at 6 a.m.? Can they operate at 6:30, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever the case may be? But I can tell you by name some of these companies that are not operating after 6 a.m. and prior to 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's all in the town code,
Yeah.
and they have to follow that. I think that's what Tom's referring to, is a little bit more investigation into some of those matters and a discussion with them.
Yeah, it's black and white what they can and can't do.
Right.
Some of
And
them-
is it 6 a.m. or 8 a.m.?
7.
I thought they-
7. You know, we've gotten complaints that they're operating before.
How many
before the
examples do you want? They're here before 6 a.m. So whatever you want.
Well, I think Tom's right. We should investigate that and to see, right?
All right, so why don't we do this? Well, we don't want to hold up city carding, who frankly has been a big supporter in our community by assisting with recycling days and bulk pickups and things like that. So I'm gonna make a motion to authorize the license application to collect refuse for city carding at this time.
And I just want to note that city carding has absorbed county waste as well.
Okay, so we'll include that in the motion.
And Patty, these licenses, they go the calendar year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so do I have a second on the authorization?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Thank you, gentlemen. And Patty? Okay, under personnel, we have current vacancies on our Affordable Housing Board, our Library Board of Trustees, Partners in Prevention, Architectural Review, and Parks and Recreation. So please do, if you have an interest in any of those boards, let us know. And we'd love to have you come in for an interview. Next is upcoming vacancies. Okay. Affordable Housing Board has some upcoming vacancies. So still under personnel, authorize the reappointment of John Zatola to the Somers Parks and Rec Board for a 3-year term ending March 9th, 2023. And authorize the reappointment of Mr. John Alfonsetti to the Somers Architectural Review Board to a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2023. So I'll make a motion to authorize those 2 reappointments.
Second.
Any discussion?
No, they're all doing a great job.
Nay.
I think you have 2 more though, right? Brown and Demott and John.
You are correct. So I'll withdraw that motion and to include authorize the reappointment of Mark Brown to the Somers Architectural Review Board to a term of 3 years ending March 31st, 2023, and authorize the reappointment of John Demes to the Somers Architectural Review Board to a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2023. And thank you for that, Tony. I have a page break there. So we have 4 reappointments. I make a motion to reappoint them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved. Okay, which brings us to the consensus agenda. Take a moment, take a look at that. Is there any questions?
Well, you may want to just chat about, again, the regulations pertaining to the retail sale of marijuana, and that New York State has essentially removed that.
Right,
removed
from
that
their-
from
from their budget.
right. And I just wanted to check whether I was on mute. That's why I paused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
we
not
were-
in the budget, but we can change the zoning anyway. I
Yeah,
guess,
which-
right?
No,
What's your-
no, we're talking about the New York State budget removed the cannabis legislation
Right.
in the budget. Okay, so.
But we're,
I think
But
you
we're-
can go ahead and you can have the public hearing, but I think, again, you should wait to change the zoning until marijuana is legalized in New York State, because now it's still illegal and you would be creating
I see.
zones to permit it where
Right.
it's illegal. So
Right.
yes, you can go forward and have your public hearing, but then you have to halt until you see what the state does.
Is there any time limit then, Roland? What if the legislature does that, which I'm not in favor of, but if they do that, is there like a year, 2 years, we'd have to reopen the hearing, or is there no time?
No, there's no statutory time limit, but I don't think there's any hurry to have the public hearing either.
We've already had,
Pardon me?
we had this public hearing last year.
No, that was on a different law.
Okay. All right.
So this is a new law that Saret has drafted.
Right.
So Roland, just a question. I mean, we had this public hearing on a law that was probably broader, right? And then you advised that under the new New York State proposal, they sort of prohibited us or legislated us out of making that decision, right?
Out of an absolute prohibition of sale
Right.
townwide, yes.
So if we would have a prohibition of sales townwide now, could they unwind it later?
You would be, again, you would be doing something, you would be taking an action that's could be attacked because it's not yet a legal activity that you would be prohibiting. So you creating a local law in advance of state action would be subject to attack in courts.
Right.
Okay.
but isn't anything we do subject to attacks in court?
Yeah, but I'd like you to be on the winning side.
Yes,
But
good.
we would be, because we would have you representing us.
That's very flattering.
So we don't mind getting in trouble as long as we know you're there behind us. I mean, yeah, Tony, I'm on board with that as well.
Well, is there a way that you can sort of craft it that you sort of put the language in, but really not, invoke write it in a way that you don't sort of attract an attack?
Well, if we know that something might change down the road, I mean, everybody's going to be keeping a close eye on it. I mean,
Yeah.
why can't we just do it then? Why would we? I mean, our town attorney's advising us that he wouldn't recommend we do this. I would just back off and wait until they try to legalize it, and then we can, have all our ducks in a row and go that way.
I agree. Otherwise, we're prohibiting something that's illegal. So it's already illegal. It's just if it doesn't, then we're going to control where it could be if the state legislature were to approve it.
Mhm.
Then we're just at that point we would be ready to determine where it could be sold in town if it's going to be sold. But otherwise, we're just prohibiting something that's illegal. And I think
Right.
that's the point. We could be taken to court for whatever reason.
Right, so Roland, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't some other municipalities actually passed restrictions on the sale of marijuana, even before the law was?
Yeah, a couple of them did. A couple of one in particular even prohibited the use
Pleasantville, right?
of marijuana, even if it's legalized. So you can see there are going to be quite a number of challenges as we go forward with this. And the towns I represent, I have told everybody, get your laws in good order, have your public hearings, and then stand ready to adopt the local laws once the state has taken action. And I really think that's the wisest course. There's going to be about a year's lag time between when the state acts and when any of these stores would be permitted to open, because they're going to be heavily regulated, and the state is going to be setting up a whole control board to regulate how these stores operate. So you really have plenty of time. It's not going to be the state acts on a Thursday and your first store opens on a Friday. That's
Right.
not the way this is going to happen.
But Roland,
So Roland, what
what if
about
I'm an
if
entrepreneur and I go out and say, hey, it's getting close, there's some vacant stores fronts, and I go out and I sign a lease, and then the law gets passed, and okay, there could be a lag time, but they've already purchased, then they would almost have grounds. Hey, you passed your law after I leased this. My intention was to have a marijuana dispensary. Is that a possibility?
I don't think that would have any validity.
Okay,
Just because you got the property in line doesn't mean you have the right to sell it.
That,
I mean, didn't that sort of already happen where people had shops and, like, take vape shops, for instance, and some of those were told that they couldn't be where they are.
right.
so are you recommending that we have the public hearing sooner and then just?
No, I don't. I
Later.
think if you're ready to schedule the public hearing, that's fine. Conduct the public hearing and then close it. And then we'll wait to see what the state does. They may may not act this year. With everything else that's going on, you may find there's a push that the state acts because they're going to need the revenue sooner rather than later. So
Okay,
you should be ready.
Okay, so let's go back, because the original legislation we were contemplating was a ban the sale throughout the town of Somers.
Right.
We then kind of ratcheted that back to just certain zones, right? So, I'm wondering,
Sort of, right.
yeah, why are we ratcheting it back? Why can't
The
we-
law doesn't allow towns to do it. It was ambiguous before. That was our argument. It allowed counties and cities.
Right.
Now counties and cities can, but not towns. So it prohibits us. They revised it.
The
So-
latest draft of the state law,
Right.
as Rich says, prohibits towns from prohibiting the sale of marijuana.
Okay, so that's why we went with the zoning.
Right.
Okay.
It's all you have left.
Control it, regulate it, certain places, but not others.
Yeah.
If
Now
they
it-
do that.
no, I just need to understand that, Roland. You said that the town cannot prohibit the sale of marijuana in that town, even if marijuana becomes legal as a recreational drug. That's what you're telling me?
The state in its legislation, the latest draft of that legislation prohibits towns from taking that action. Counties in certain cities can do it, but towns cannot. Now, should that provision be taken back out of the final state legislation, then you're ready to go because you've already had your public hearing on the absolute prohibition. So you could still adopt that law if the state allows you to do so.
Okay.
So, but that's not what we were gonna have a public hearing on.
Roger.
We were gonna have.
No,
a public hearing
but you've
on-
already, right, but you've already had the public hearing on the complete prohibition. You had that last year.
Okay.
So that law is ready to go.
Okay. You know what? I would say then, let's hold off on this watered down version. And because look, I believe firmly in home rule. I think that's an overreach by the state to allow cities to opt out and counties, but not localities.
Right.
I would hope my town attorney could make a damn good case if we passed this law and we got challenged.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm of a mind to, let's not water down the legislation that we already had a public hearing on. That's still in the wings. And if this law gets passed, we can pull the trigger, prohibit the sale throughout the town of Somers, and then wait to see if we get challenged.
well,
But if we lost that, we have nothing to fall back on. If we
Right.
can change the zoning regulation, that we're on firm ground. If that were to happen by this town or any other town, all towns would be bound by that decision. And then we don't have anything to fall back on. It could be sold anywhere.
the best thing you could all do would be to lean on our state representatives to make sure that if the state does enact that law, that provision prohibiting towns from taking their own action, that should be taken out. That should be removed before adoption. That would be the best thing you can do, because if the state is going to preempt towns from being able to have their own rules, that's going to be a futile battle in court, because the state has the right to preempt. So the best thing you could do would be to convince your state representatives to take that clause back out of the draft.
Okay, so there's two outcomes here. They take it out, and what we've already had a public hearing on, we could enact that legislation.
Right?
They do not take it out, we can then schedule a public hearing on the zone restriction.
Correct.
So we'll have a year before it takes effect.
Correct.
Is everybody comfortable with that?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I worry, what Roland said, because I forget what state just did that. In order to increase revenues, they have sped up the legal sale of marijuana for so-called recreation. I think that's a terrible reason to enact a law. You can sell a lot of things that people,
Yeah.
if you believe that a person should have the right to do that, that's a discussion. I understand there's two sides to that. I happen to be on one side. But to do it just to raise money, I just think that's a really weak argument. I would hope that wouldn't be the reason to do it. But that is one state would do, and you just wonder, tax receipts will be hurt by the corona problem, and
Right.
it would be enticing for some to make that argument, even though I hope they wouldn't. So it could happen, but I agree with that stance you just said.
Okay.
So very simply put, to back up the supervisor, and by the way, his previous statistics, which are it costs $4 for every dollar that gets generated in terms of marijuana tax revenue, $4 in terms of first responders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So beyond all of that, what can I do, Roland, to make sure that I don't want to sell pot in Somers? That's what I want. Help me get there. Help me get there.
The
Well,
best thing you could do right now is to talk to your state representatives to see if that language can be deleted from the draft they're currently considering.
Right, and our representatives are Senator Peter Harcum and Assemblyman
Kevin Byrne.
Kevin Bird.
Evan burn, of course, right? So, I don't know how successful we're gonna be with Mr. Harkin.
And we could also
I'm
lobby, we could also lobby George Latimer to, to opt out also.
Yeah,
Right.
the county could, right?
I haven't
That's
heard I have never heard when the county has taken a position. I don't
Yeah.
know what they're considering.
Right.
Okay, so, all right, let's put that in on our to-do list, gentlemen.
So
Um,
you're going to remove that?
Yeah, we're gonna remove it.
Thank you.
That was a long dissertation for just the removal.
Well, that's why we have discussion of consensus items.
Of
I'm
course,
glad you brought it up.
of course. All right.
Okay, conservation, okay, the conservation easement, we need to conduct that public hearing, though. Authorizing permanent student, and the appraisal, yeah, I have no other issues or concerns with the rest of this stuff. So I would make a motion then to adopt the consensus agenda 1, 3 through 9.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye, so moved.
Aye.
Tom, couldn't hear you.
That was a muted aye.
I read your lips.
Okay.
Okay. So it brings us to our next scheduled town board meeting will be May 7th. It'll be a work session. We'll be on the same BAT channel and BAT station. We'll be Zooming on YouTube and on Zoom. I do have a few announcements. I will,
Rick, let me say one thing, just so people
Sure.
know. We've been checking with Paul. We didn't have anybody call in or do anything. We had one text about the school where we sent a note back to him that basically said, we discussed the school very briefly, the new school, no new information, just that things were still moving forward.
right, and I'm just checking the chat room.
That's
You could
okay.
all check the chats yourself, and I don't see anything else in here.
Yeah, there's nothing coming in on the YouTube as well. Do you guys see the stream on the left corner there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no comments there. You see that?
Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
all right, so the public has had an ample opportunity to participate on a number of different levels, so I'm comfortable with that. Okay, going on with town board announcements. We are in the midst of the 2020 census. I understand they're going to extend the time period for obvious reasons, but in Westchester County, I think the average town, or a lot of the towns, are up at 68%, and we're around 42%. So once again, we have to get onto census2020.com. It takes 3 minutes to fill out the census information. And I can't stress upon all of us how important that is, because your population is directly results in what your eligibility for financial aid is. So we want to get Westchester's numbers up over 1 million this time, and certainly in Somers we're on the record for 21,100 something, but we certainly can do better than that. So the census, I think, has been extended through the end of the year, but mailings, you're going to start getting mailings at your house if you have not registered for the census. You're going to get some paperwork with an ID. You can go online, or you can fill it out and send it back. If you have, they will not deliver to a post office box. No, if you don't have a box, they're gonna come to your house. So if you have a
go to
post
the
office
web-
box in a post office, they will be knocking on your door. So if you don't want that knock on your door, go online and fill out your census. Let's see. You can go online to my2020census.gov, and where it asks for the 12-digit code, click right below that says, I have no code. So you don't need a code if you do it online. And like I said, I did it, took under 5 minutes to complete it. So if you haven't, do that. And
They sent a postcard. I did it. There was a number on the postcard. I put that in, and like you say, it only took a few minutes. It was very easy.
awesome. All right, and
thought-
the final announcement here is online. There's an online plant sale fundraiser for St. Luke's Church. So as we all know, they have their annual plant sale. You drive by St. Luke's and you see this wonderful array of floral and fauna, but we're not going to see that this year. What you're going to see is a online plant sale. So at St. Luke's Church, Somers, in partnering with Three Rivers Wreath and Plant Company to offer a unique variety of bulbs, bare roots, and tubers just in time for spring planting. They earn 50% profit on each package sold. So place an order through their fundraiser webpage by April 30th. Your order will be shipped directly to you the first week of May. Go to www.threeriversfundraising.com and enter group code to begin shopping. The code is uppercase GZ5, uppercase RK5. I'll repeat that. Uppercase GZ5, uppercase RK5. And that's threeriversfundraising.com, and you enter that code. So,
Are all the letters capital, Rick?
yes,
Are all the letters?
they-
Okay, all four
yeah,
letters.
GS and RK, yes, they are.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, with that final announcement, are there any other closing comments, concerns, or issues? I do not see or hear anyone, so I will make a motion to close our town board meeting.
Hey, be safe.
I
Second,
made a motion. I need a second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. And once again, be safe, be well, and good night, Somers.
Good night. Good night,
Good
all.
night.
Good night, all.
Thank you, Euro Video.